Hello Pioneers, in the last episode of our MEGAFACTORY build series, we designed a scalable office tower smelter building and tested it with a massive 4-story copper setup. This episode, we're taking on an even bigger challenge of building a caterium smelting factory with 50 refineries. It's going to test both our creativity for designing a beautiful structure and our technical skills to supply all the inputs. Can we pull it off and keep everything running smoothly? Let's find out. I built this entire copper factory last episode because I was planning on making copper wire next, but then I was looking at some of the copper wire recipes and I believe caterium wire is actually way more efficient than copper wire. So we look at all the wire recipes that I have. I actually have all of the different wire recipes. We can make them out of iron, of course. We can do this fused one, which is like partial caterium to copper ingots, and that makes 90 per minute, but that uses an assembler. This recipe is actually probably my favorite because it turns 15 caterium ingot into 120 wire per minute. That means we only need 150 caterium to make a full belt of copper wire, right? A full Mark 6 belt. And they're done in a constructor. So it'll be super easy. I just need like 10 constructors, which is basically one floor of this to make it. But of course, to make that, we need to make caterium ingots, which we're not doing at the moment. And there's a lot of different recipes for caterium ingots, and apparently I've unlocked all of these as well. This one is probably the best one because our usual caterium converts at a 3:1 ingot ratio, whereas the pure one, we're getting 1:2. We just need to add water. Water is free. So I'm going to go with that recipe, and we might just set up a caterium factory over here somewhere. And we'll do it. The problem is to process a full one, we need 50 refineries. So if we look at the numbers over here, we can very clearly see that at the rate that it goes, we got 24 here and we need to process 1200 per minute, which is a full Mark 6 belt. And we'll get out 600 caterium ingot per minute, which is a half a Mark 6 belt, which is plenty of caterium ingot. But we do need a lot of refineries to process all that. So we're going to go set that up. 1200 divided by 24 per minute is indeed 50 refineries. It's a lot bigger than you'd think because if we look at this manifold over here for our concrete factory, this is only 10, isn't it? Yeah, this is only 10 refineries. So we need something 5 times as big as that. So it's definitely going to be a massive build. So let's start laying out our foundation and start seeing what that might look like. In fact, this is so big, I'm going to see if I can get some sort of refinery thing set up. I don't think it's going to help too much, but let's see what we can do. I'm going to try to make this as compact as possible as well, because it's going to take so much space. If we use a center line over here, yeah, we can kind of set it up, maybe with some of the belts, maybe. We probably can't do the back half of it, but even if we can get the front manifold done together, it might be slightly helpful. This is the closest I can fit 2 refineries into a blueprint, and we need to join the output section, right? We should probably do it from here somewhere. So we do the first one down here, as close to the edge as possible. Then the next one can go here, and we want to line up the output. Is that too close? That is a very, very snug. I really don't want to build 50 manually, but we'll see how many we can fit in here. At least maybe we can get the output sorted, and maybe like the power or something. So this is how much I can fit into a blueprint designer. Now, is it possible to get a merger in here? It is, and we don't mind the merging just being on the ground floor, do we? Maybe something like this. Unfortunately, because the pipes are going to go into the floor, and also because I have no room in my blueprint thing, there's no way we're getting pipes in here. But even getting this in is a little bit helpful, I suppose. So we've got the outputs all done. We can probably even... there's no point setting the recipes. Now we can do power as well, so we'll probably do something with the pillar. Now I regret putting it so close to one side. I could have done it a little bit further out, but it should be fine. So I do a painted beam. I don't want to do it here because that's where it's going to join between manifolds. So like say from here, or we can do it all the way from the edge maybe. I'll just do it here. We'll do it like 8 meters up, make it nice and round number, and then we'll get it across. Now I want the beam out like a little bit. And maybe we'll just get rid of this and it'll just be the beam. And then we can do the ends when we seal it off. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. And we need sets of 10. It's unfortunate we can't fit 5 in here, otherwise it'll be much easier to build. But I think that's fine. At least it'll be slightly easier. So let's get power to this beam. Try to get it as straight as possible. If you're enjoying the video and you want to support Data Engineer Plays, don't forget to leave a like and hit that subscribe button. And if you have any feedback or suggestions, feel free to share them in the comment section. Now we'll just get that across. Still scanning hard drives as I build all this. We've got a basic iron ingot. So we mix iron with this. We'll take all the basic recipes. I like the basic recipes. And keep scanning hard drives. Let's see how many hard drives we have left to scan. We've got 37 left. That's plenty of hard drives to scan. I have definitely not been doing one every 10 minutes. All right, we've got a basic blueprint that we can go with now. And we'll just do the caterium factory over here, I guess. And yeah. Not sure I like this power beam being back here. Should be fine. Let's see what that looks like when we tile the blueprint. I'm sure there's going to be many modifications we need to make. So our first refinery blueprint. Alright, so we leave like 2 tiles of space out here, and we just mark where our factory's corner is going to start, which is going to be this tile. Then our refineries can kind of start here, and let's see how condensed we can make that. It doesn't really matter which way I output these. But if we do something like this, that it's like really, really close against the wall, we probably don't want to do it that close. We probably want to do something like that. And okay, so one row of this of 8 is going to look like this, and we need 50. So there's 8. Now, can I fit this blueprint next to itself? Yeah, pretty well. And then can I join these up together? So I basically need 2 rows of 25. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's actually perfect for this blueprint. Let's chuck another one down. Okay, I've run out of motors. I'm going to run out of a lot of stuff building this. Let's go back and grab all the materials we need. Alright, we're back. We're going to need more floor and more everything. So let me just start building some more floor out. Alright, I think that should be big enough. So we just need another row of this. And that snaps in quite nicely. And along here, that should be 12 and then 12. That's 24. And we need 25 in this row. So we just need to add manually in like 1 more of these, right? Either that or we can just overclock one to like double speed is the other option. Probably that's the better option. Make it a little bit smaller footprint. The other thing we could do is we could just overclock all of them to double speed. And then that makes a smaller factory, right? But do we care if it's smaller, or do we just don't mind and we just make it double size back here? That's not too bad. 50 refineries, right? Let's add that in and see what that might look like. We'll put in some lifts just to sort of get a gauge of how big this will be. So we need to leave like maybe 1 tile of space in between and then do it somewhere here. Let's chuck that in and see what it looks like. We'll do it similar to the other side. That should be enough room, right? We'll go like 1 more. Make it symmetrical, I guess. And then there can be like 1 room of space there. And does that line up with this? How can I tell if this one lines up with this one? I think, yeah, there you go. There's a blue line there. And then we can chuck in another section of refineries just like that. Line them all up. That is a lot of refineries to process caterium. Oh, and I'm out of stuff again. Missing pipe. Okay. And there it is, our 50 refineries. That's pretty crazy. We do need to overclock 2 refineries to double up the, to get the correct amount of output. Anyway, with the machines on, we can now start working on a facade for this building. And again, we can start with the frame and do all our usual stuff. I've been watching a lot of inspo videos online, so I've got a few ideas of what I want to do. Let's clear out Blueprint Designer and let's work on some stuff. Now, one really cool thing that I saw them do, instead of doing 4 wall height tiles, let me just create a wall as a spacer, figure out how tall this wall needs to be. So if we go vertical mode to cover the chimneys, now we can either cover the chimneys or we can have all the chimneys sticking out and have a shorter wall. I kind of like the chimneys sticking out of the ceiling. I think it looks kind of sick. So we do like 5 walls tall, 6 walls tall, it just like barely sticks out. But if we did it 5 walls tall, everything would stick out. The problem is we wouldn't be able to put lighting underneath. Do we need lighting underneath? We probably don't. Let's just try with 5 walls tall. Alright, so I'm going to build a same thing here for just measurement's sake. Now, instead of using 5-meter foundations, we can use 1-meter foundations and build it up like this. And then by deleting every other wall segment, you can get a really cool effect. I have no idea if this is going to work, but we'll give it a go. Like that. I don't know why I didn't build this in default mode, coated concrete. I'm an idiot, but... So that'll be like the foundation of our wall, and if I paint all this in properly, it should look better. Silly me, should have done all of this in coated concrete, but it's not too hard to paint, so... The problem with doing a wall like this is my object counter is going to go through the roof. I don't know if this factory is going to eventually lag, is a kind of low-key concern of mine. We'll do this in black finish so that we have... I think the black coated concrete looks so much better than this coated concrete. In fact, for this building, let's just try something different. Let's try the carbon steel finish. Nah, that's like too black. Yeah, that's like way too black. The chrome finish is the way to go. I think that one looks the best. So this will be our wall, and it looks pretty sick. I know you can kind of see through the wall, but I honestly don't think that is a big problem. Let's try it out. I don't even know what this should be called. Let's try out this wall over here. We obviously got to give it 1 tile of space. We measured all this to be reasonably okay. So we'll start it here because I still want to do a nice round corner over here. Looks like a kind of cool wall. Line one up along here as well. Where did we say we wanted it? I shouldn't have deleted my foundation, but it was basically 2, right? So that's the corner there. Now we can do some cool stuff in the middle. Now that we have our wall up, we can figure out how to decorate it. And there's really cool ways to decorate this wall. I'm just going to figure out how to do it. So I want this like cool glassy corner going on over here instead of just a regular corner. Let me see if I can figure out how to do this. So if I put in another bit here. No, I think I've done my corner 1 tile out too far. That's fine. We can just do this corner like this. But essentially what's going to happen is we're going to use these vertical diagonal ramps to taper it out into a corner. Let's see how that might look. Oh man, you can't cut through this. It's very hard to delete foundations like this. Yeah, it's going to take a while to make this build. But essentially we want to get a ramp. And we'll probably use 2-meter ramps, so it doesn't take too long. Otherwise, if you want a really, really cool corner, you can do like 1-meter ramps. So something like this. And we can invert the ramps on the other side. Let me zoom this way. See where these ramps kind of meet. Which is right around here. Now we can get rid of these foundations in between the ramps and do a really cool glass finish. Just try some new interesting building techniques. So use full frame windows, I think is probably the best. And we'll shift it in like 1, maybe 2 tiles. And do something like this. Probably should have started on this one. Yeah. Let me redo this. Wait, why isn't this lining up to this? Shouldn't this be perfectly lined up? What? I'm so confused. Is this not exactly a 5-meter foundation? I mean, 5 4-meter foundations? Apparently not. Ah, because I deleted the top level. Interesting. So this top level must need a double level, basically. I can't delete the top level. Otherwise, it's not going to line up to the height of a wall. So basically that. And then if I do this in, we should be able to get... That is still not lined up. What? That should be lined up to that, right? No, it's not. Is it? No, it is. Yeah, that should be the right lineup. So why is it that this is not against the right thing? That's really awkward and weird. But I'm just going to go with it. I mean, obviously, maybe things aren't going to line up if we use completely different designs like this. So we just need to add another layer on top, basically. And then we've got our window frame. So if we do another foundation layer down here for our corner, we can do a pretty cool corner that's just all glass now. See what that looks like. Ah, but then the problem is over here, we need something to hide this clipping. Because if I did the same thing on this side and I shifted it 2 in, we're going to get this little thing, but that's not a problem to hide at all. We can just use a pillar. I think a small metal pillar will do it. Definitely a big metal pillar will do it, but I kind of don't want a big metal pillar here. But it definitely looks kind of cool. Maybe we can start the glass from this end. So what I'm thinking is something like this, and then we can shift this glass in a little, 1, 2, and then there'll be like this double line of glass here, but that looks better than a double line of glass there, and it will stop a lot of the Z fighting around the outside. I think that looks alright. Now, how do I make this part look decent now that I have this extra bit here? We need like one more bit here. And it doesn't need to be perfectly symmetrical, right? It looks fine, completely fine like this. And yeah, it looks kind of cool. I even don't mind it that you can see the machines through the wall, but we'll do some more cool, fun stuff with the wall. Now, if I paint all this, it might look even better. How does a corner like this look? I think that looks fantastic. And then we need to transition it nicely into here. So we need to probably fill in some of these gap bits. So we'll just use the same 1 meter foundations in here. And what do we think of this? Does that look like a nice wall? Am I using the wrong finish on half of this stuff? I was meant to use chrome finish on everything, aren't I? Using 1 meter foundations and having these extra lines in here, it kind of makes it look like brickwork a little bit. And the corner looks fantastic. I really like this. Now, I feel like this needs some sort of something. It can't just be, I don't know. But then if we fill it all in, it just looks exactly like what we have, right? What if we mix it in with some other kind of stuff, like metal pillars, for example? Instead of using those walls, we can use metal pillars as walls. And again, see, this is the height of 5. I don't know why the height is slightly different for this. It's really weird. I think it's because I built a 1 meter foundation. That's why the walls aren't going from exactly where they are. I might need to fix that so that it goes down 1. Okay. But let's just proof of concept the metal pillar as a wall. Does that look good? It kind of looks cool. I feel like this section then maybe needs like billboards in there so that it is covered. I don't like the fact that it's completely open and then it kind of becomes a feature wall in itself, right? And then we can do some like very interesting angles on all of the different sections of the factory. It doesn't all have to be the same like this. All right, let me fix all that up and see how that looks. I think the proof of concept definitely works. We just need to modify a little bit to make it look a bit better. We're back to the blueprint designer, and since we want to build the blueprints inside, we need to start with the billboards. No, large billboards won't work. We need small billboards. Oh man, how am I going to know? All right, I'm going to build it here. Each billboard should be 4 meters high, right? I think. So if we want to build it 5 tall, we can use the billboards to help us line up now. So there's our billboards 5 height. Now I just got to paint them all in with this pattern. Are we a little bit sick of this pattern? Is there another pattern that looks kind of cool like this? Oh, it's so bright. It hurts my eyes. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now with the billboards in on both sides like this, we can now put in these foundations once again. We go into vertical build mode so we know how tall to build them. And there we go. This time I'll delete from the top. And we might have to leave like 2 on the top. We'll delete from the bottom. I like it being 1 foundation up. It actually kind of looks cool, I think. And see how we have to leave 2 foundations up top for everything to sort of make sense. Now we should be able to loop this across. This is such a pain to build, so I hope it's really worth doing. Let's give our buildings a slightly different look. Otherwise I'll build all my concrete factories like this, and then we'll end up with a factory that looks very, very, I don't know, very boring, I guess, if all the buildings look exactly the same. But if we build a slightly different style for each building, we can keep our factory looking a little bit more interesting, right? So maybe this top one should just be a 2 meter foundation then, instead of 2 1 meter foundations, if it even lets me build there anymore. That looks pretty nice, I think. I wonder if there's any other patterns I can lock. This gritty pattern looks a little bit weird against this square grid. It looks really nice against diagonals, but doesn't look too good against squares, but it's fine. At least it's better than just having it open like this, right? Kind of looks weird open like this, especially at the transition to the glass. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of having it fully open like that, but that's fine. We can do that, and now we can basically we just need to color it in and then replace these walls. So I'm gonna go do that real quick. Now that we also know how these split walls work, I can do the corner again as part of the split wall. So I can start deleting some of this, and then we can put in the corner. Then I'm gonna put another split wall blueprint against this split wall blueprint. Now I don't like to do my corners in the actual corner because I don't feel like if I need to do any weird stuff, I don't want to be out of bounds of the blueprint. And we just delete the bits we don't need. And then we just build in the corner into an actual blueprint. That way we can easily merge them. Now, what's going on with these? Okay, that's fine because we don't care about this section. We're going to delete this anyway. So here's the corner that we want to build. We want to build it similar to this. So let me figure out how to do that, and then we'll color it all in. So I want to keep this top corner and this bottom corner. And I'm going to keep researching my hard drives as I do this. An iron pipe. Pipes made out of iron ingots. That sounds amazing. Now I kind of want my glass to start from the floor so it doesn't intersect into stuff. So I'm going to do it like this time. And we'll get it going 2 things in, I guess. Maybe I should have done this all indented 2 in as well. But that's fine. Learning from our old designs. So there's our corner in. Now we can use this, but we want to misalign the glass because the glass doesn't Z-fight and clip into each other. And that should be perfect. And now there shouldn't be any issues coming up into here. Well, we've got the glass tiling area, so now we can just put in our diagonals. So we want this. It hates being built there. There we go. We want to zoop this way. Come on, let me zoop this way. It only wants to zoop this way. Don't make me build all of this manually. Oh, it hates it. There we go. There we go. Nice. Alright, cool. Let's get this top bit done. I'm just going to delete this top glass because it's getting in the way of my building. You can always put that back in later. I actually have a feeling that what's better to do here, instead of these diagonals, why don't we try something else? Using the 4-meter double ramp should tile quite well on this, if I can get the snapping point for it. No, it hates it. Why? Why do you hate snapping? Ah, there we go. This is what I wanted. Now I just need to let me zoop up this way. I think that looks a lot better, I think. Yes, there's a lot of Z fighting now because it's the wrong texture. And similarly on this side, we should be able to down ramp that. Finally, I can find a nice snapping point again. Oh, this is so hard to build. It's basically this, like that, but I want it in. It's so hard to build this. I have to like delete this entire ceiling to like pack a double ramp onto here. I want it here. Why wouldn't you let me build it onto this one? I don't understand. It just won't give me a snapping point here. For some weird reason. Is it broken? What have I broken? There we go. Let me finally snap to this point for some reason. Now it won't let me zoop to the end. Oh my god. This is going to be the most annoying build ever. Come on, let me zoop this way. Yes. Oh, accidentally clicked off it. Now I know how to build it. It's from here. Then I have to go here. Yeah, but it hates it. At least this one lets me zoop. Okay, eventually I got there. Now I gotta rebuild all the stuff I deleted. Probably starting with the billboards. Actually, I don't need the billboards in between here, so thank God for that. But let me rebuild this stuff. Let me delete the billboards in between where these sections meet. And there'll be a little bit of openness over here, but I don't mind that too much. Oh, it just dawned on me I'm gonna have to do the same thing on this side as well. We can just seal it with glass, it should be fine. And then one more over here. And I think that looks pretty nice. I probably want to get rid of that one. And maybe that one. Or do they look nice? Let me paint it in because I can't really tell when they're all Z fighting like that. So give it all that chrome finish. And then hopefully it'll stop Z fighting. It does look kind of cool. If only I can put some sort of sign over here that fits nicely with the billboard to hide the stuff. Let's see what would fit there. A display sign. That's way too small. Portrait sign. A portrait sign might work. Maybe this glass section should just not have billboards. I think this looks nice. Probably just need to finish off the windows. How's that look? I think that looks kind of cool. Yeah, I think that'll be my corner. So we'll do the same thing here. It's going to be a bit of a pain, so I'm just going to build it all out. And there's the corner all built out. Now, is there something I can do about this? There's no pillar that's big enough to cover from like here to here. And I don't mind it being a square block here because it's got this cool feature, like a little bit of angles and stuff to make it look interesting. Maybe we can cover this area with like a painted beam or something and make that look better. Let's give it a go. Or like a metal beam. The small metal beam's just too small. It causes Z fighting. What about some painted beams to make it a little bit better? Oh yeah, that gives it a little bit of extra structure. But not here, right? Like, that's not gonna work. Nah, that's too much, I think. But yeah, I think this is a nice looking corner. And let's give it a go with the rest of the architecture and see how that looks. So I'll save this as split corner. And I'm just gonna deconstruct this part and replace it with my blueprint and see how that looks. I mean, I like it, but I don't love it. I had to put a little small metal pillar in to get this transition looking okay. What if we extended this out even more? Like, impossible to build this ramp, but if, I mean, maybe we can extend it out a little bit more to tie the look together a bit more. If we do like a diagonal line, it kind of ties this wall and this wall together a bit more. I don't want to do it upwards either. I think that looks okay. Does it look interesting? I suppose so. I feel like this wall maybe needs a little bit of something. Like, it can't just be this. But I'm not sure what we should put in between it. Let me do some experimenting. I made this V2 one with windows in it. I don't know if that looks better or worse, but we'll give it a go. So something like this. And then if we just get rid of that and that, maybe we just need to tie this together like this. How does that look? Slightly more interesting. The transition from here is still a bit jarring. I think we definitely still need some small pillars to cover up this little transition. But then other than that, I think that looks pretty good. Looks kind of interesting. I just don't know about the feature wall, if it goes together well with this. There's something about this design I'm not quite really liking. Like, I really like this corner. I just don't feel like this corner goes too well with the rest of the design. Let's just like play around on this wall, see if we can do better. Now, what if we just continued this pattern down a little bit? Maybe even to the floor. Continued this pattern out. And then what do we use to fill this wall? What if we try some big concrete pillars? I like that idea before. Concrete pillars don't quite go well with this design, does it? What about metal pillars? Because all my walls are a bit metallic, so I think we need something metallic to go with it. Is this now one tile out because of the... Yeah, it is, isn't it? Oh, man. I kind of like the metal pillars. Make sure we get it in the right tiling side. I don't want to build this a 7th time. They're just a bit annoying to build, so if it works out, I might blueprint this as well. I mean, that's a pretty decent transition. There's a little bit of Z fighting here. So if we build the metal pillars out one row, it's actually kind of fine. And it gives a little bit more interior. What do we think of the metal pillars, though? It's a little bit boring. What can we do to spice things up a bit? I mean, that kind of looks cool. Something different. Yeah, I don't know. Very difficult. Maybe if we had the trimmings in, it'll look a bit better. Kind of cool. better than the feature wall. Like if we compare this wall to say this wall, I think this metal wall looks a lot like, it looks a lot better, right? Like especially if we customize the color, kind of looks cool. I don't mind this. I think it looks better than this, honestly. This purple is like a little bit too much. Just a tad, you know? Let's add in another corner and just complete off this wall then, because I am pretty committed to this corner blueprint. Just gotta experiment with different things until we get something we like, you know? This is why this whole concept is so time consuming, because we're not just boxing up our design and then calling it a day. The corner should go here with one tile of space on each side. Man, that's gonna be like super tight for this belt and pipe, isn't it? Literally, we're gonna be like walking in and there's just gonna be belt in our face. But that's where the wall goes, isn't it? To line up to this, or is it? Yeah, it is. We're committed now. We're gonna go with it. And we'll just continue this out this way. That creates a nice little V. And then if we cross this over, it all lines up perfectly somehow. That was unintentional. I don't mind this look, honestly. Now, how do we open up an entrance from this point, though? No, we'll figure it out. Let's just get the pillars in. You know what? I'm going to make a blueprint for this because we know we're going to do something similar on the side and the back walls, so there's no point delaying it. How many rows is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, we'll do a 5 pillar thing. So like that, we'll even put the floor and the wall in. Floor and ceiling, mate. Damn it, I need a snapping point. All right, fantastic. That's our pillar wall. It's actually like a decent looking wall. We can use it for other stuff, I'm sure. We'll mix and match all the combinations that we're making of stuff. They should actually fit together like Legos. Maybe there'll be some cool combination that just like organically emerges from all this. Call this a pillar wall. Now I should be able to snap my blueprint into here. The front and back shouldn't matter. Let's just line up the tops. And there we go. Now we need to open up an entrance somewhere here. It makes sense to just do it right in the center here. Something like that. Now there's a little bit of Z fighting happening here. I don't know what to do about that. Well, we do. We put billboards in, right? Let's have a look if that covers it. Yeah, it works out nicely. Looks alright. So it's something different to all our other builds, right? I don't mind it. Let's add in the rest of this stuff. Try it on this side now. So we'll add in our pillar wall and that should tile in nicely with it. We can add in some decor. Now we'll need another pillar wall on this side. And then we've got to figure out how to box in the end. Now we're not going to do another glass thing, I don't think. So we're just going to do something, yeah, I don't know. We might do something different on this side. So if that's the corner and we'll just do our wall here, then we'll start it here. Now on this back corner, maybe we'll just do a non-boxy diagonal, right? So something like this. We'll use our road barrier trick. I figured out how to connect pretty much any 2 points smoothly now with this road barrier trick. Now should be able to snap that to this road barrier. And snap this one to this road barrier. And boom, we've got our foundations. Now we'll get that going down. Can we transition this back into the gritty one that we've done before? I wonder. By switching back to a 1 meter foundation and going down. It should all line up perfectly. And then if we just delete every other one, we should be able to switch back to that old build that we were doing before. Maybe I'll build it all first. And then we'll go from there. We can do something like this on the back side. I think that looks alright. Oh, especially if we color it the right color. There we go. Now it's looking all good. This transition, I'm actually not... I don't really mind it, honestly. Now, I want to add some windows to this section. But how big of windows do I want to add? Let's just carve out this entire section and add windows. Maybe not all of it. Let's just do the parts that are straight. Up to about here. See how windows look on this? Do a nice clear full frame window. How's that look? A little bit weird. I don't mind this. It doesn't look terrible. And then it transitions like this, and then we can do something similar along the back. This actually looks pretty decent. Alright, let's seal in the back of the factory then, and then we'll figure out the windows for the back section. We'll probably need to figure... yeah, we'll do a similar thing. Let's get rid of this blueprint then. And then we'll add in our pillar blueprint instead. Now, do we need that pillar to cover the transition here? Not really. Does it look better with a pillar covering the transition? Not really. We just do a smooth transition like this, and then we'll add another one over here. That's perfect. Then we need to turn it over this side, and we're going to do a similar corner like we did on the other side. Is that all lined up? Hopefully. Looks like it. Then one more here. And then we're going to have to build one section manually, but that's not too bad. Alright, the back wall is sealed up. It looks a bit boring at the moment, but we'll spruce it up in a second. Let's get the road barriers and get this corner done. Alright, that's the corners in. Let's carve out the windows for this as well. I think I needed this to be here. And we can put in our windows. And there we have it. I think that looks pretty good. The blocky windows look a bit weird. What if we put some more architecture in? More architecture fixes everything. What if we add in some painted beams? Just along the top and the bottom. Yeah, because it looks a bit weird just sitting on nothing. Oh yeah, that looks a lot better. Look at that. It looks like a window frame. Looks very deliberate now. I like that. Do the same thing on the other side. Yeah, and that's looking a lot better with the painted beam. Okay. I think that's looking pretty nice. Now we can carve some windows on the back over here. And we can do some interesting architecture along the back here as well if we wanted to. Do we want to though? Is the question. Or do we just want windows? What if we just did like floor to ceiling windows? Does that look nice? Like every other one? I dig it. I dig it. I like this. I bet you it doesn't line up. So I'm going to start from the other side and see where that lines up in the middle. Sometimes simple is better, you know? This entire experience, I haven't even checked what this whole thing looks like from the inside. Might look terrible. The interior view is also very important in the design. You can't just design from the exterior. I mean, eventually someone's going to walk into your factory and be like, why does it look like crap from inside? Ah, it fits perfectly. Somehow my tiles lined up without me actually counting them. Love it when that happens. There we go. Something nice and simple, but a little bit different from our existing factories with a few cool design features, different style of windows. I really like this window out here. We probably need some painted frames on the back as well, just to seal everything up. Now we got to do the roof. Now our roof is probably going to kind of make or break this design. So we're going to have to figure something out. First of all, is my thing even tall enough? I feel like it's clipping into the actual machine. So we definitely need to raise the roof, which is perfect because all of this clips anyway. So we might just raise the roof by another 2 tiles. So there's the roof. Now we can give it a bit of a trim and then we can just fill it in. So what I was thinking is, let's see how it looks filled in with just regular whatever. Can we just use 1 meter foundations so that it doesn't look too janky? The roof should probably be made out of concrete. That cuts, so I'm going to do a half here. Because I want these... I think the smokestacks out of these refineries are going to be a big feature of our roof. So we want to keep them prominent. So I'm just going to build the roof out with either foundations or half foundations, whatever fits in here. And then we're going to go from there. Or maybe all of this should have been concrete, now that I think about it. So this should just go across all the way. We'll worry about the material later, or let's just make all of it concrete for now so that it doesn't look weird. Probably don't want to mistile this, honestly, because of the thing back here. We want to tile it this way, and then if we need to cover this one, we need to get rid of the half foundation like that. Then obviously that doesn't work either, so we'll do another half foundation here to bring the smokestacks out. Now between here and here, I want to do something cool. Maybe between here and here. Oh, this roof is still not tall enough. These things poke out. Alright, I got a different idea now. So then between here and here, we can do something cool just to fit that in. Are these buildings clipping into the ceiling, and does that look horrible from inside? God, this building looks really cramped from inside. It looks okay from here because this is like going out into the sky and there's nothing blocking it. But then over here, from this view, it might look a little bit weird. Should be fine. Let's just see. It is clipping, but that's because I am using 2 meter foundations here. I was meant to be using 1 meter foundations on the inner wall. So let me fix that. Refinery buildings just need to be so tall. They're actually really, really hard to build. I have actually underestimated how tall this needs to be. But I have a little plan, and I had this in mind of trying to do this a while ago, but we'll see how it looks. Now I'm going to leave 2 tiles open here, and then just go here. Now this doesn't even need a half tiling, does it? Not really. We could do a half tiling in the middle here. Then from this side, we'll do pretty much exactly the same thing. Hopefully it all fits in nicely. Alright. So what I was going to do over this section is give the roof a little bit of definition. And to do that, we want to use our roofs, our glass roofs. So if we use will you go 4 meter because just to give it definition, but do something like this. And then this. And then it just gives the roof a little bit of geometry, right? Otherwise it's just a big flat roof and that's very boring. And to seal it off here, I think the corners work well. Yeah, it just gives our roof a little bit of character. So we'll seal that off and then we'll do something similar on the other side. Over here. So 1, 2. And then we can seal this off. And we need to do something here, definitely. And that will probably be another half foundation coming out this way. This one's going to be a little bit tough to snap onto though. Is that the right snapping point? Maybe we just snap it onto this. Do it the easy way. Yeah, that works. And once again, if we get these over here, I think that'll give our roof a nice little look. I'll do these first and then we'll snap it on accordingly. This building, like, it took me ages to build this, but it actually looks a lot more simplistic than any of my other builds. Feels like I wasted a lot of time trying a lot of stuff that didn't work this time, but oh well, it's just how it goes sometimes. You know, not all your designs are gonna look good. Sometimes they're just gonna look like trash and then you're gonna cry. We haven't even tested the functionality of this building yet to actually make the half Mark 6 belt of caterium. Cool. I think that looks good. Now we just need to give this bit a little bit of character, and we can do that with something we've never used in the game before, but a 1 meter wall. Either that or we can do railings. But if we do concrete 1 meter walls, I think that works well as trim. Let's have a look at it. Yeah, looks like a nice little trim, right? See if it tiles nicely here on the corner turn. Yeah, looks nice. So there's our trim in, and our roof is looking a lot better. How crazy is that? That little bit of trim just adds so much to the roof. It's so weird. Anyway, and over here, where see how this is just like a flat edge. Now we can either put a concrete pillar or like a painted beam across here. Or, ooh, windows. No, let's not go crazy. I like these chimneys just sticking out of the roof. I think that actually looks really cool. But we just need to give it a little bit of a trim. So we can do something like railings. Something different on the inside than the outside. And that just gives it a little bit of a trim as well, right? Oh, it needs so many railings to fill this in. But there we go. Filled out the first one. Yeah. With just like a little bit of railing. See how it's a very subtle detail, but it adds a lot. I'm going to do that for all 4 of these. So when I'm done, I'll be back. Alright, all the railings are in and our roof is pretty much done. I think that looks pretty decent. What do we think of this? I can't really see it with my blueprint designer here. Let me move my blueprint designer once again. I mean, we obviously need the road blueprint to be correct. And how does that factory look now with the road in? I think it looks pretty schmick. The only thing I don't fully like is this transition. Is there anything we can do about this transition? Like, do those angles look weird? Paint it in and let's have a look. Better or worse? I think that looks better. Compare this to this. Yeah, I like it. What is happening here? There's not enough room. Because of the doorway, there's not enough room for it to transition. I can't do the doorway halfway because of the stupid things, but that's fine. The doorway can be a little bit asymmetrical. I like it. I don't mind it that the angles don't match. They kind of look cool. Can't do that here though because, yeah. We could always just remove this on this side. Nah, then we lose the gritty look. And they won't line up to this. No, that's fine. I think that's fine. What we can do on this one, we can bend this back down. Like that. Give it a double strip. Oh yeah, that looks good, doesn't it? I think that looks pretty sick. What do you guys think? What can we do about this doorway? We can make it a 4 wide doorway. Then it's more symmetrical. There's nothing wrong with a 4 wide doorway, right? Our doorways don't always have to be 2 wide. Can do that. Oh yeah, that looks much better. Now it's symmetrical. The entranceway probably needs some unpainted pillars to give it that nice finish. You can always fix all of your seams and problems with these pillar things, with these unpainted beams or painted beams or whatever they are. Add some of these beam connectors in and our build is looking fantastic. We've got a nice little entranceway. I think that looks schmick. What do you guys think? Yeah, I think that looks great. I'm just wondering if I can add a light strip anywhere to make it look nicer. To sort of tie it in all together with this stuff. Like, the only thing I can think of is like one that runs all the way along the top here. But I think it looks fine without the LED strip. Looks nice from the top as well. The back geometry looks a little bit interesting. It's not technically not a full square box. I like it. I like it a lot. Alright, well the next step is to actually get this building functional and making some caterium. And that's not going to be an easy task, so let me get to work on that. For some reason all my tractors have failed over there, but that's alright, it's my old factory. As long as all my trains are running continuously, I'm happy. Let's have a look at it from the interior as well. Well, we'll do the interior together when we do everything else, but yeah, it looks fine from the interior. You can see outside, this midsection looks pretty schmick. We just probably got to do the flooring properly. So using the right grip metal and stuff like that for everything. And coated concrete probably for the entranceway and stuff like that. And then we should be sweet. Yep, we can do the beam down for power. That's all connected. We've got to connect it all properly. But we'll do all that now. And these transitions don't look too weird or janky from the inside either. So I'm happy with that. I think it looks really nice. I like it. I'm signing off on the build. It looks good to me. Now city is coming along, I think. Look at this. We've got a bunch of different factory styles. I think I might have to paint this black at some point, honestly. I'm hoping all of these different factory styles that I'm trying is gonna like gel together at some point somehow. But we'll find out eventually, I guess. And then we've got to figure out how to pave the roads as well. Like, where do we do our roads? Because we're gonna have like more factory going out this way as well, right? Look at our little city. It's coming along nicely. Alright, enough miring. Let's get to work. We've got a lot of work to do still. We've got to connect this factory to make sure it actually works and produce ourselves some caterium ingots. So first we need to find some caterium. So this looks like our closest node. It's only a normal node, which means we're not going to get our 1200. There's a normal node there. There's a normal node there. Let's try checking on the other side over here if there's any pure nodes that we can use. Now, our closest source of pure caterium appears to be all the way out here. It's a little bit far, but our train should be able to handle that, so we need to get over there. I'm going to start paving out more train rail this way. So we'll use our standard blueprints that we did a couple episodes ago. A couple of empty tracks and then one full track. And then we just join the rails. This is so much easier to do in flight mode. Now I really should start declining this because we are quite a bit off from the ground. Let's see where the caterium actually is. Yeah, it's like around here somewhere. 200 meters below us. where? Is it in a cave? It's in a cave, isn't it? Yeah, it's underneath in this cave. Okay, that's fun. So we need to bring it out of this cave and then up onto here. Oh, do we want to start declining around here in case we want to keep building our factory out this section? I kind of don't want it floating massively in midair. So we should probably start a 2-meter decline around here somewhere. All right, let's see how that might look. Because this will be the end of our factory then on this thing. And then it'll just start declining down here. Because we can see there's nothing else out towards the coast. So we should probably start declining our rails down here somewhere. I'm going to set that up and then I'll come back and talk about it when it's done. Now, one very unfortunate thing about doing inclines and declines, I've made a blueprint for it, but there's nothing I can put over here. If you recall with our blueprint over here, we put these foundation stairs in to give it a little bit of geometry to elevate it away, like to sort of segregate it from the rails. So the rails kind of are a little bit lower. It's very subtle, so it's kind of fine. So instead over here, the only thing that I can use to separate the rail track section from the non-rail track section on the outside is these painted beams. I think they're the only thing that you can sort of place diagonally on this sort of structure. So we're going to have to go with that. So here's our segment for the empty rails. Let's test it out to see if it works. Yeah, this is getting a little bit annoying. I mean, I can incline it upwards perfectly fine, but I cannot do the decline. So I think I'm just going to build this manually, honestly. It's not really that much effort and we're only declining a short distance. So just going to build it manually. Maybe we'll do the down ramps 10 at a time since we're doing manual building. Now there's a bit of a lip here, so we need to do something about that. See if this looks nice. Wow, is that Z fighting? Yeah, it is. Alright, we're just gonna have to leave it like that, unfortunately. There's no way I can make this transition smooth to a decline. That's a shame, unless someone can think of something clever for me to do. So it's going to look a little bit janky on the decline, like the transition, but it should be fine. Do a railing like that. And I'm going to do the painted beam a little bit out, I think. Give it that little bit of elevation. Alright, I can't do any less than that for some reason. Alright, that's fine. How does that look with rail tracks? Let's have a look. If I do it all the way, there's like a big thing here. So we can do the turn as tight as possible. Bring it down like this. And that should be sweet, right? We just control snap it to the end. Fantastic. Now probably need some rail signals here and here. I can put rail signals at the end of every section. Now we will have to manually build out this little pillar thing, which I'll figure out in a second. But we'll start our new 10 by 10 section here. It's a shame about these inclines not being very good. Otherwise, we'd have a sick design if we could blueprint this and do some cool stuff, but it's alright. We can just manually do some simple builds every now and then. Doesn't need to be, not everything needs to be super complex. At least these railings work on the diagonals. I'm happy about that. Otherwise, our build will look really janky. It doesn't look too bad. I think once we paint it in, it should look okay. I don't even know if this painted beam is necessary, to be honest. We'll do one side with the beam and we'll do one side without the beam. Now, the hard part is going to be fitting this thing in there. So it is a 4 tile high thingy-mabob. And I want to put it here. So ideally, I want to start it here somewhere. Does this thing just intersect with the sides? Yes, it does. All right, that's fine. So it goes up 1, 2, 3, 4. If I can do this thing, then I'm okay with the whole design. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then how did I do this? With some sort of foundational help. I'm trying to remember all my old building techniques. The one thing about when you start blueprinting everything is that you start forgetting what you actually did. I believe if I just put another one here, or maybe I use 2 meter foundations, it gives it the right snapping point. Yeah, I need one more under. Then that gives it the right snapping point. Why is that still feeling wrong? I have no idea what I did here. Maybe I did 2 meter foundations. That gives it the right snapping point. 2 2-meter foundations, and then that lets us zoop it across. Yeah, good enough. The only annoying thing is building all of this lighting inside. This is going to take a while. I mean, we could always build a blueprint for this, but I mean, how many of these am I going to build? I'll just manually build them. It's fine. Don't whinge about it. These don't fit perfectly, eh? Alright, the gap is up the top. Gap is here. I guess there'll be a gap at the bottom too. Nope, we can't fit one in. There's our lights. And that seems to be working fine. Alright, so we'll do this every 20, so we don't even have to build too many of these. Not every 10. And then hopefully, oops, hopefully that will get us to the end. So we'll do a 10 sections of 10 at a time. Yep, that clears the tree perfectly, and I guess we just keep going down, right? So here's 2 sections of 10, I think. Or is this just 1 section of 10? Yeah, that's 2 sections of 10. So this is where I want to build my next beam thing. And the railway goes perfectly fine down here. And then we can do another section down here. But you see what we're going for. So I'm going to build all this out. And when we get down to the bottom, or at least past the caterium, then I'll come and talk about it. Now, I think here we're pretty much down to a non-ridiculous elevation now. So we've come down all the way, quite a few 10 sections, you can see by the track things. So we can now put a regular section here. Hopefully it'll let me clip it to something. Okay, it's doing that thing where it doesn't like aligning to this. Oh, did I get it? I think that's right. Yeah, it is meant to stick out a little bit and not meant to be at the bottom. I think that's right, because the train tracks look like they're on the right seam. I think that is the correct way to do this. So now we can build our flat here, and it is still quite a bit elevated, but not that bad. I think this is fine. We can figure out the bottom of this later. Ideally, all of this should pretty much have been 2-meter foundations realistically, but that's fine. But we just need to join these 2 rails. Now, I assume this can come up the same way the other thing can go down. So we can do this. And out of pure laziness, I think I'm too lazy to put in the pillar bits, so I'm not going to. But that's looking half decent. What we do need to put in is the signaling. So make sure it's all going the right way. So that's all meant to be on this side. So basically everywhere here needs a signal. Look at the signals. They're slanted. How annoying. They're like diagonal. That looks a bit weird. I mean, it doesn't look weird when you're going at it. It just looks weird from the side because they follow the incline of the rail. There we go. There is our decline, and then here is it reflattened. The last thing that we need to do is put in the markings. So I think I decided I wanted to just use this straight path marking, and then we just get it going down. Doesn't perfectly match, but it's good enough. Give it a little bit of texture, you know? And there we go. I think that pretty much does it. I mean, there's some janky turns and stuff over here, but we'll just ignore that. I'm not good of an engineer enough to fix that. And now we're back to straight. And now that we are back to straight, we can start looking at extracting our caterium. Now, caterium's down here in this cave. So let's figure out how we're going to get it out of this cave first. Strangely enough, it's all unguarded. Now, what veins do we have? Get rid of all of this. I think there's quite a few normal veins and a pure vein. So we might be able to get 2 boatloads of caterium out. 1 for now, 1 for the future. It says there's 3. So that's a normal, and a pure. Nice. So we'll get some foundations in here. Now we love to use fix-it foundations out in the wild. Man, there's so much random caterium ore just lying around in this cave. I can't even get a foundation built. So there's our miner. Fits nicely into the cave. Now, if we bring the ore down here to join with this next section, let's see how that might look. That's too steep. Something's trying to kill me. Do 2-meter ramps. All right, maybe we'll go 1 further out then. That looks all right. So we don't need this one. That gets our second miner in. I'm running out of portable miners. Might as well do some hard drive research while I'm here. I've forgotten to continuously research hard drives. Rigger motor. If I add a crystal oscillator in, I can get a lot more motors per minute. That's very interesting, but very useless to me right now. There's our second miner in. And our third caterium is right here. Now, if I join this at this level... Oh man, there's so much random caterium ore in the way. I'm just saying if I join it at this foundation level, will it let me put a miner on top, or is that like too much? Oh yeah, it seems to be okay with this. Cool. I guess that's our 2 belts. Now this is our normal miner, and if we stick maximum in there, that should give me 600. And then if we do the same thing with this, this will give me 600. So we want to join these 2 belts, and then we want another belt from here. So let's get the belts in. So this is our pure one. It gets our straight up 1200. So this is the solo belt. We also need a path out of the cave. There's our train station. It's going to be at least starting here, right? So we'll get the belt here first. So here's our little underground mine. We just need to link these 2 belts up now. So we can put in a merger here, right? Now there's no way to lift this ore into this level, is there? It's just gonna have to do something weird like this. And then that should go into the merger. Then this one can do something similar, and it needs to be aligned to the center of here. And then we lift it up and change it to straight. It's happy with that. And that should go into the other side of the merger. Then using conveyor poles, we should be able to stack both belts on top of each other. Not that we really want to stack them on top of each other. It makes it a little bit harder to transport onto a conveyor belt later, but that's fine. We'll deal with it when we need to deal with it. Apparently there's some radiation here as well. But there we go. There's our 2 belts. Let's build ourselves a train station up here somewhere. So all we'll do is continue to extend the track out this way a little with empty blueprints, so we have some scaffolding to work with. And one more track section here. And with that, we can start building between these 2 sections. So if we get our floor, we should get the blueprint onto here somewhere. Yes, that is the correct blueprint. Don't get tricked by my random elevation. And now we should be able to build our train station right here, dead center. And I'm finally out of concrete again. Alright, I'll be back with more concrete. Oh, it's so far away. Alright, and there it is, our caterium station. We've put in the train station, we've put in all the rails and all the joins. I hope I've done it right the first time this time. So we've got the incoming rail coming in there. It loops around like this. And then we've got the outgoing rail this way, which is the correct way to set everything up. I know I've been doing it wrong a few times, but this should be fine. With that, we've got a path for the caterium. So I'm going to carve out the bits that we need to carve out to bring a lift underneath. So we're going to bring this down with walls. Surprisingly, it's not that far down. Only 30 meters, 30 times 4. About 120 meters down, 3 sets of 10. But we'll bring it over and then we'll bring it up. Let's just go from here, as good as any. Do 2 sets of lifts. I got our scaffolding in, and now we just need to bring the lifts. I'm going to start using this infinite lift trick that somebody taught me. Let me go retrieve the instructions. So what's the dealio? Basically, I read the instructions. It just sounds like if I put a conveyor hole here, say like here, and that can snap a lift in. And then if I put a matching conveyor hole exactly down here, then I should get an infinitely high lift. So it won't go up high, but I can snap it to this lift. Oh, and then it just goes even higher. Right, okay, that's cool. So like, if I put one here, I can do something like this and snap it to this lift. Then this lift can go all the way down. Okay, that's hacks, but sure. And then we can bring it out here. And then what if I just remove this? So yeah, basically between 2 floor holes, you can just make an infinitely high lift. Fair enough. That makes a lot of sense. Let's just do the same thing with the other one then. I guess we don't want these. I'll leave one hole for me to get through. Push train, stop honking at me. All right, this one is in sort of the exact same position center. So let's do something similar down here, like here. Click. And then we'll just do something like that. I don't like this lift pointing the wrong way. There we go. Hopefully they function. Cool. Nice and clean. Now I need belts out. And here we are at the end. Both belts. Now we need a lift down, and I wonder if... Nope, we're going to need that infinite high conveyor trick again. So we'll do one thing here, one thing maybe here. And then if we put a floor hole, say here. Floor hole here. Yep. So it's like pretty much towards the edge against the center. Jeez, something's shooting at me. What's shooting at me? This thing down here. Alright, before we were so rudely interrupted, I believe I put a floor hole here. And I can bring a lift from here to here. Let's do this lift first so we don't get confused with directions. Then we bring the lift here. And we'll do something like that. And we'll do something similar on the other side. Get that clicked in there. And get that clicked in there. That should let us build an infinitely tall conveyor lift from this hole down to this hole. So basically the concept is you just line up two lift holes, and if they're lined up vertically, then a conveyor lift can travel that distance. Fantastic. Nice and easy. So we can do a thing like this and get one of the belts in. Nice and simple. Then this belt can go across. And then it can go in here. Not gonna worry about this too much. We'll just let it go in however it likes. I know I could probably put the lift there, but whatever. No one's gonna see this anyway. Now we just need to get power down here. The same way we do power, we'll do a radio tower here onto this tile. And this power tower can grab its stuff from the station. Yes, train, I get it. Beep, beep. And then we can go directly down, which is this tile here. So we just go like 1, 2, 3, 4. And yes, this power slug is in my way. Get another power tower going here. Should be able to connect this and this. And then we should be able to get power towers going all the way down here. Like once it's down here, I don't think anyone's going to see anything anymore. So I'm just going to bring it straight in. And then from here, we just do regular power poles. You can do one here. And one can do one here. And that one can connect to this. This one should be able to connect to this. And this one can connect to that. And now we have our caterium going. Sweet. We got 2 full belts of Mark 6 caterium. Don't know if we're ever going to build a second caterium factory to process that, but it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So once this one gets going, these two should merge to create a full belt, and this bottom one is also a full belt. And there we go. Got to make sure that's being loaded into the station. We'll make sure it actually flows through all these infinite lifts. That one's good. And this one seems to be stuck. Alright, because there's a train in here trying to load stuff now. Okay, I get it. So this is something someone else mentioned, and it makes a really good point, which is the fact that I have a buffer for my stations on the other side, but I don't have buffers here. This suffers from the same problem as the other thing, where when the train is loading, the mining loading is going to stop. So we can't have that. We need a buffer. So we'll put in our industrial storage. It makes sense that, you know, wherever you have a buffer for, maybe line these up. Yeah, it makes sense. Wherever you have a buffer over there, you need a buffer at the input station as well, for the exact same reason that when a train comes to this loading station, that it's going to stop the miners from mining for a second, and that might screw with your input rates and stuff. So we need definitely a buffer to keep that going. That way the train can fully load itself. It looks like it's already tried to load some stuff up, which is quite silly. But that's fine. It seems to be all good. If it's loaded into the station, I'm going to assume that it's working. So we're going to set this and go back to our base and see if we can deliver caterium. But otherwise, looks like it's working. I'm back at base. I've set up this station over here to be caterium ore, just next to the limestone. And I've set the timetable, and it looks like the train is on the way. We're using less and less power now. Alright, the timetable says this caterium train is coming over to caterium ore, which is fantastic. Now the delivery of our stuff isn't actually as fast as I like it. So I wonder how accurate this is, because it's telling me that the incoming transfer rate for limestone, for example, is 1,000, which is undersupplied for our factory, which requires 1,200 per minute. I think you can remedy this with a second train, but I don't want to test that stuff at the moment because throughput isn't a problem. When throughput becomes a problem, we'll start adding in second trains and whatnot. But if limestone from here, which is like really close, is 1,000 per minute, I'm guessing the caterium, which is almost 3 times further away, is going to be much, much slower. So it will be interesting to see what the actual transfer rate of caterium is. And once that throughput becomes a problem, we might need to look at adding second trains and stuff to the rail. But I don't think that should be an issue for our station. The way we've designed it, it should handle multiple trains perfectly fine. So we're gonna wait for a while for the caterium to come in, and when it does, we need to buffer it downstairs. So I'm gonna start doing that as well. Do the same thing that we did for everything else. So the output is there, and we'll just delete this. Checking our catwalks. Is that gonna clip into here? How do I do my catwalks for this stuff? Yeah, it just sort of clips into there a little bit. Now we do something like this. We'll line up these, use this as a guide, and perfect. Hopefully this will start stockpiling caterium ore at some point. We need more foundation on this side, so we'll fill in some of the extra foundation here now for our subfloor, and then we'll put in our second one down here wherever this lines up. There we go. Now we should have 2 buckets of caterium ore, and look at that, delivered already, ready to go. Now we need to pipe this into our actual factory. The factory is quite far away, unfortunately, but we'll sort that out. Before we go, we might as well paint this properly now. We use grip foundation once we do one of these sections, so we'll change that now. There we go, looking good. It's another material into our base. Now we've got to go set up our actual refineries. We've got a lot of refineries to work with, 50 refineries to be exact, and we'll get that going. Now the pure caterium ingot also requires just as much water as caterium ore, so if we have a full Mark 6 belt of caterium ore, we're going to need 1200 water. So let's get that set up. We just need another 2 of our lovely reservoirs of water. So we've got 2 set up. We're going to bring down the piping for another 2, and we'll bring that across to this factory. So we're currently using these 2. For our next one, should we go back to front, or should we just use these 2 next, I guess? We'll just use these 2 next. We'll bring those down. So the way we access that from the subfloor is we need to build this infrastructure over here. So let's put some pipe holes so we know what we're doing, and we'll get that done. You've seen me do this in previous episodes, so I'm just going to cut to when that's all done. All right, we are back. So we've got these 2 now. We can see the flow rate is 600. That means we are getting our full Mark 2 pipes of water into those 2 lovely reservoirs. Now we can see all the piping. It's getting a little bit messy underneath, but we've got all the piping done. And we've got our 4 water collectors over here, fully juiced up to get 600 out each, or 300 out each, and 2 of them make 600. So that's 4 water towers now being used up. We're really going through these 9 water towers real quick. But we just need to bring this now down and across underneath this factory somehow. You can just follow this pattern. So it's like in the middle here, and then like on the edge. Like that, I believe. Looks a bit weird. Why doesn't it look like this? Ah, because I have to put a little turn here. Like that, then down. There we go. That looks nice and clean. Now I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Now I might actually bring these 2 together, honestly. We'll do it the other way. They don't all have to be perfect. So we'll do that this way, and then this one can do the same thing but the other way. Because these 2 water pipes are going to the same spot, so might as well bring them together underground. I need to bring it through this hole. That is definitely not in the right place. I think that's the correct one. Bring that in. Do the same thing on this side. Yeah, that looks correct to me. Bring that down, and now we're in the subfloor. From the subfloor, we need to go out and actually make it work. So we've got to find a clean path. And we can just go straight through to this side of the factory, I think. We really need to start being able to access our subfloor through like an actual designated spot. So how would we go about and do that? Can we do something cool, like an access level? So if we were to put out a foundation out this way, and then we can use our walls. For example, don't we have these doorways and stuff? Like that? Then we just do regular walls around the other side. There's a little maintenance thing here. We would just put up a sign of some sort. Can we put a maintenance icon? What if we did something like that? And it says employees only. That's pretty cool. I don't know. We'll do some interesting thing like this. And then we can actually access the maintenance floor by digging out this hole. Probably need a wall here as well. And now if we put a floor underneath here, this is too much work for what I'm trying to do. Now we can hit up that subfloor cleanly. Put some stairways down. Now we have an actual thing to go into the subfloor. Oh, and it's terrible because there's a thing in the way. Oh well, good enough for now. Just need to be able to get up and down the subfloor easily. Anyway, before we got severely distracted by that, we were trying to bring these water pipes to the other side of the world. And it looks like we have quite a nice clean path. So we'll just use it. Now, someone taught me that I can use pipeline supports, not these. Is it a wall pipeline support? Am I missing something? I must be missing a wall, pipeline wall support. That's what I need. That is number 7. Ah, the pipeline wall supports. That's what goes on the ceiling. Nice. But how do I stack 2 of these on top of each other? I can't. Okay, I guess these are just gonna run along the ceiling then. If I just put 2 directly next to each other, will that cleanly go in there? Nope. So that's on this line. So like there. It will do a clean straight turn. Nope, that's 1 too close. Ah, so finicky. Well, I say so finicky, but it's just me being OCD trying to get the underneath pipe straight, which is completely unnecessary. Now we should be able to just run this along and get it to the other side. And that should be 2 belts of water. There we go. So there's our 2 belts of water. We just need to run it all the way along to the other side. Now I'm going to come out the other side to figure out where we actually need to get it to. And again, I need to carve a floor hole somewhere into the subfloor. I need to start creating entranceways into the subfloor. Otherwise, I need to keep going around like this. And my factory is getting bigger and bigger. And I can't actually get into my subfloor. So we've got to figure out some nice spots that make sense to go into the subfloor from. Now maybe just in front of here is good, but then it blocks the entrance, so maybe not. So we can just do it on the side of the road, I guess. Okay, for now I'm just going to do it like anywhere random, and then we'll figure out subfloor access in a future episode. I'm just going to drill some holes out for now, I think. I'm just trying to figure out where we need to put all the pipe holes, so let's get all these pipes linked up. This is not going to be an easy thing to do either. Just trying to think how we're going to do this. Yeah, I think we're just going to have to go through the painstaking task of putting individual little holes here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll be right back. And that part is now done. That's 48 holes I've drilled in to the subfloor. I'm going to go over this side, show you guys. I've done all the ones in the middle. And I've done all the ones on the outer end over here. Fantastic. Factory is looking a little bit cramped for my taste, but it's fine. Let's go hook up the water. We're almost done. Let's go through our little subfloor hole. Now we can see this. We need to build out our subfloor this way. So we're probably going to run out of concrete again, but that's fine. We have just enough concrete to do this. All right, cool. So here are all our floor holes. We need to now bring in a pipeline that can carry the water underneath here. So we'll do the same thing as we did this side where they just directly go into the pipeline. I know that's like the harder thing to do. So let's just figure out how to line this up. Oh, without falling off the edge, let's figure out how to line this up perfectly. So it's like 1 off here. Then this. Let's just build 1 section to see if we're even remotely correct. Is that vertically correct? It is. Excellent. Now we want to get it as close to the ceiling as possible for future developments. Now 3 is okay, right? We want it to be normal stackable pipeline things. Don't get lazy here. There we go. Now next one goes probably around here somewhere. Think like this. It's gonna build 1 to proof of concept it. Alright, let's see if that's enough clearance for this thing to do its thing. I think it is. This is exactly how we built it last time. So we'll put in these things. I'm just gonna put in 3 for now. Yeah, perfect. That works. Now, obviously, the easier way to build this is just to bring it through the floor once and then do all the piping upstairs. But to keep it nice and clean, because we want to hide the piping, we're doing it under the floor here. We're going to need more concrete to tile out this way. But this is the end. Let's see if we can get to the end. All right, now we've got the full pipeline. We just got to put in the junctions. All the junctions are in. Now we just got to hook it up. And that's done. That's 1 of 4. Now we're going to get the rest of them in. 3 more pipelines to go. When that's done, we'll come back and discuss. There it is. Our 4 pipelines are now done. So we can now connect 2 of them together, and that'll be our 2 belts of water that we need. Now it's not going to let me do something as simple as this, is it? Damn it. So let's just bring them back both out to, say, here. And then we should be able to connect it quite easily like this and nice and cleanly. And do the same thing on this side. Nope, it's there. And then we'll just do the same connection. And connect it to the main pipes. Now all our pipelines are joint. We just need to bring these pipes over and connect it into the system. Alright, we're almost here. Now we can do a direct connection if we wanted to, or we can run it to the end over here. What do we want to do? I reckon we just do one of them as a direct connection. They're not even, yeah, they wouldn't be the same height, would they? So we need to do a horizontal to vertical join over here. Is this just like completely in the wrong spot? So like something like that. Then if we line this up, you should be able to go down. Alright, we'll just do auto 2D. That'll be fine. So that should distribute water into here and here. Fantastic. Why is it flowing out exactly 302? That's not a good sign. Oh, because it's splitting in half. The supply and demand should even itself out the way a manifold does, I'm guessing. Because this will get full really quickly and then it should start flowing that way. Cool. Then this other pipe, it needs to do a turn because it needs to meet this section of pipe. We'll just get this into the ceiling then. There's no way horizontal to vertical works nicely here. But now it's in the ceiling, so we can get it over out here cleanly. We want to try to use as minimal room as possible. So we want to get it to here, 1, 2, and then we'll just do the turn along here. And then we'll do the same thing here. So there's the turn. We'll do it in the midsection over here, 1, 2. And we'll just turn it along here. That should be straight. Somewhere along here. And then this thing can connect to this. So it needs to connect here, 1, 2. And that should be a perfect turn. There we go. And that's getting water flowing across here, and that should pipe into this second section of refineries. So that's one material down. What is this? Oh, it doesn't matter. It sticks into the subfloor. It's fine. Remember, we don't care about our subfloor. It's all going to be sealed off one day. So that's one material in and done. Now we've got to worry about the second material, which is the actual caterium ore. So we're going to do this again. I want to show the belts. I could hide it, but I want to show it. And we'll probably do our belts coming out somewhere here. Is there a nice spot for it? We can just get it through the window if we really wanted to. You can get it through like this window. There's not really a good spot for it to come in, is there? I mean, we can get it to come in here. This is a 4 tile thing, right? 2 tiles, 2 tiles. So we can get it in through here. So we want 2 belts of, well, it's only 1 belt. So 1 belt of caterium is going to weave through this entire factory section. So if it's going to start here, I'm going to start doing the weaving from here. So we're just going to get caterium coming in like this. Now I can't get this going into itself, can I? I mean, technically I can. I mean, technically that's not clipping anything. Alright, we'll do it facing inwards then. Now we'll just do this turn a little bit carefully. Because it's going to turn into here, right? No, that's the output. So it's going to keep hitting the edge of this thing. So it's going to turn into here. Let's just try it with the turn. So I'm going to go across here again. And we're going to add our splitters. And they're all going to come from this direction. Now we'll add our belts. We'll do something at the halfway point. Maybe not exactly at the halfway point because we want this belt. No, that's actually not a belt. So we'll do that. Oops, that's too high. So we'll do it at the halfway point. We'll get it hugging as close as possible. Like that. And now that's nice and straight. That should go into here. So we need to face it the right direction. And that works out nicely. Cool. So we're going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to go and do all of these ones now. And we'll probably just do all the ones on the way back as well. And there it is. All the belts and lifts are in now. as well as on this side as well. So it should be one long belt. It's going to take forever to fill up this manifold, but eventually it should produce a full, well, I think it was 2/3 of a Mark 6 belt. What is the ratio? It's half a Mark 6 belt of caterium. All right, I've got to do the recipes as well. But before we do the recipes, I might as well do, we'll do the belt first since we're working on the belt. So we said we were going to get it through here. Oh, it's a little bit sketch. So I'll have to use a double wall hole. Now it'll let me snap it to any of these points. That'll be good. I have no snapping point anywhere. That's actually perfect. But what does that look like from the outside? The outside is a little bit sketch if we do it here. Kind of want it one further up. All right, we'll just have to build a temporary thing here. And do we need this glass over here? Probably. That's where I want it. Now, how does that look? Okay-ish? Yeah, it looks fine. Do the same thing on this side. I don't mind it. It's kind of okay. We should seal the roof, though. There's a little bit of Z fighting here. Oh, a bit annoying. Nothing a random beam can't fix. Just a random painted beam here. Better than Z fighting, though. We'll make it look a little bit more deliberate, I guess. We just add like a half factory zone here. It looks like it's actually something. I don't know what it is, but it looks better than just a random beam. Now, the underneath part as well, do we want to seal it? Doesn't really add much to it. Fine. Alright, let's get the belts in. Is that the right direction? I think it is. Why am I doing 2 belts? I've gone insane. I just want a singular hole, because there's only one thing that's ever going to come through this factory. Now, what if I pushed it in one? Because it kind of really juts out, but what if I went in one? No, that looks terrible. In one looks really bad. Alright, we'll just do it here. Because it's going to be covered by a conveyor thing, so it should be okay. Let's get the belt in. Then we'll grab a lift. And bring it down. And that should go neatly into there. Perfect. Get rid of this helper foundation. And then we should be all good. Yeah, I don't mind that. Now on this side, this thing's going to come into the subfloor. So we need a conveyor hole here. And that's what it's going to look like. Fantastic. We've got the input in. I love how it plays with the window and stuff. And we can see through it. It goes up and over and in. That looks so cool. It looks like it's like a mirror. All right, let's get the actual input in. There it is. So we need to bring something all the way over here. We might bring it around the back here and follow this belt, I think. Yep, I think that's a good idea. So if we face it, say, this way instead, we can bring it in this way and then turn it here and then it can follow the copper this way, conserving as much room as possible for stuff. Now, where is it going to turn? Somewhere around here. There's the turn. And now we can just bring it all the way over to the other side. It's going to be... Oh man, look how far this is. This is crazy far. But we're pretty much here. We just got to bring the actual ore out. One of these two is caterium, right? Yep. That's too close. There we go. There's the caterium linked up. We can get rid of this satellite portal now. I don't need that anymore. And yeah, caterium is now flowing out. It's going to go all the way around and follow this track all the way to our new refinery section. Now we've got to set the recipes, get the power on, and we can bring everything to life. Now, power is another thing. We have kind of connected everything, but we haven't actually connected it to any sort of wall power yet. So let's figure out how we might do that. So I guess the closest power connection is coming from here. And it really wants to go here, I guess. So you want to be at like this height, maybe? I think here or here. Here is fine, kind of. So let's try this height. Let's get it going directly across. Now I've got to bring this in. Power is always a nightmare to do nowadays. I believe it just goes into this corner. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Now it needs to connect to this wall power, which is just going to connect directly up here, I guess, into the ceiling. And then we'll just reach across here, and now that is powered up. All right, now they don't have recipes, so we've got to get this power bar onto the floor too. So it's not floating in midair. Let's set all the recipes, that way we can see what's powered and what's not. So we're doing pure caterium ingot. We're going to set that recipe 50 times. All right, that's all the recipes set. Now I've got to connect the different sections of power because they're all part of different blueprints. There we go. Now they're all lit up. We've got to fix this part of the pole as well. Why won't it let me build this thing here? It won't let me connect to this part of the painted beam. Weird. All right, there we go. Get those beam connectors in, and that's our power on this side done. Now we need to get power on everything else. Now something's wrong with the water as well. Not all of it is connected perfectly, but we'll have to test and see. Here's the other beam connector, so we need to get it down to the floor. Oh, why is this one clipping through the thing? Let me get rid of this part. Same drill, we need to connect all the different sections of blueprint, which is here. And then we need to connect this up into the wall somehow. And we'll just go directly wherever it goes straight, which is here. And then in theory, we should be able to connect from here out to here. Fantastic, that's done. Get the painted beam in. Done. All right, everything looks green except for this one. Great. Now we can test whether it all actually functions. So in theory, all the caterium should be coming across. And then here is the output. I can see the caterium ingot here and here. So I'm just going to sync it all for now and then see what are we going to do with this, by the way? The caterium ingot is coming out this way, right? Let's connect all these output caterium ingot bits as well. Now here's the caterium ingot coming out, and it will probably get merged somewhere. Like in the middle here would be a good spot, I guess. And I'm really running out of room to do stuff here, so I'm going to have to get creative with... Well, actually, we don't need a permanent sink or anything, so should be alright. So let's get a merger going out this way for now. What? Wait, is my mergers going the wrong way? Does it come out this side? Oh, it does come out this side. Damn it. That's fine. I mean, we can always get rid of this pole for convenience. If the mergers come out this side, then we want to merge it here. We'll bring the caterium here. And... oh, did I make it all one big manifold? Did I? Okay, that's fine. Forgotten what I've done. So this one comes out this side. And then I guess I've just got it merging all together. Is that what I'm doing? So the output comes out this side. Get it to the center point. And then it's meant to go in here. And now we've got all our caterium. So let's sync it to test the output and see if there's any bugs in the system. So I don't need a merger here. I just need to sync it somewhere. Now the sink's not going to be a permanent fixture, so I'm just going to build it anywhere. This is just for testing purposes. It doesn't matter if it clips into the wall. What? What is that weird turn? Oh, because the sink's like up here. All right, whatever. I just want to sync it to test. And yes, it's all syncing. We've got to let that all slowly empty itself, I guess. And then we can test whether everything's working or not. Judging by the lights, it all looks mostly green. There's some issues with the water over here. So we'll definitely let that run for a bit and then see where that all jams up. My maths is correct, right? This is just it. Slowly getting rid of the caterium. But once this all empties out, we should get clean flow. Alright, so I'm going to let this run for a bit, and I'm going to test if all the machines are working and all the water's being pumped properly. I had to add a couple of pumps downstairs, but check it out. It is all green now. All green. We are getting all of our stuff out. Well, it's still a little bit trying to saturate the water, but yeah, it's pretty much all green now. Or close enough to all green that I'm happy with it for now, until we start actually consuming all this caterium. But we are producing half a belt of caterium ingots. Amazing. Alright, our factory works, which is great news because I would have hated to build this entire thing and then not have it work. Now, I think we want some lighting in here. We got to finish this all off with some lighting. Where I'm going to do the lighting is going to be very interesting now. We can definitely do a light bar in the middle. So like here, and we'll turn it the other way. I reckon here. I know this is probably not electrically sound when it rains, but I mean, I'm an engineer. I'm not an electrical engineer, so it's fine. I'm a data engineer. This just doesn't seem like a software problem to me. So I'm gonna do this. probably remove one, but that's fine. That central light bar is given, but what about the other sides? There's no point doing one here because it's like blocked, right? So what about here? Like here? What do we think of like this? Just like a little mini one? Yeah, let's just do it and find out if it looks good. That's gonna stick out of the other side wall, right? Actually doesn't, so that's fine. Now, is it possible to connect these with wire is the other question. I feel like that did do it. Okay, that, I don't mind that. Do we mind that? Is there any weird clipping issues from the outside? No, there's no light bleeding through the concrete or anything like that. Cool. Then we need to connect the central light bar, which is this one. So we'll do something like that. Then we'll connect that up, and then we'll just do the same thing on the other side. Give it a little bit of lighting, better than no lighting. Just that one can go, and this one kind of clips in, but is sort of fine. Now we'll connect the power somehow. Like here, I guess. And done. Now we've got lights underneath some parts of it. Could also do a light bar under here if we really wanted to, but I think that looks alright. Can't really tell until nighttime. But we've got lights, we've got power, and we've got caterium. Fantastic. What are you guys all complaining about? A lack of water. Okay. Something's still very wrong with my water. I'm going to continue to troubleshoot. Alright, so here's what I've done. I've been experimenting with this new technique called a water tower. Basically, so if I understand this right, this is how it's meant to work. If you have pipes and you want to bring them up to a certain height, for example, our pipes have a little bit of head lift here, right? Instead of installing random pumps everywhere along this main line to bring it up this little bit, if you can somehow bring the water to a height above the maximum height you want to reach. So for example, I'm bringing the water up here, and see this is flowing at 600 per meter, 600 cubic meters per minute. And I'll just show you underneath where those are coming from. So that's these two main pipes that are coming from the reservoir, right? And all I have to do is install two pumps here, bring it up into the floor, and then they go up and curve back down as you saw. And as long as you brought the water up to this height, it will always perfectly feed any pipes connected to this system that's below this top height. Essentially, is what the theory is. And I can see that working a lot better in practice now. So if we look along here, yes, it's not all lit up, but what you'll notice is it's actually saturating like a manifold now. See how all of these ones are all at 50 and it's slowly going through the manifold. These ones that are orange, see this is like starting to fill up. This one is a little bit higher than this one. This one's a little bit higher than this one. This one's starting to fill up, but eventually it'll now saturate this properly as if the water was going through exactly like a belt manifold. And you can see it in action here. See how all of these are perfectly filled up, and it's slowly making, the water is like making its way through the pipes like a manifold, and it's slowly going to fill this up. So you can tell that's definitely working a lot better and a lot smoother and a lot cleaner. So yeah, that's what these extra pipes are for, if you're wondering. They've got these, it's like the concept is called like a water tower. I'm probably not explaining it right. You can go look it up on YouTube. Someone will probably explain it, or I might do a video about how that works. But yeah, it definitely works a lot better, because before I did the that water tower, I just had pumps on the main pipeline that's feeding underneath. And for some reason, like all of these ones were getting full water, but then these three in the middle of the pipeline weren't working for some reason, and it was all just a horrible mess. But with the water tower now, the pipeline's actually saturating like a manifold. You can see the water's gotten all the way up to here. This one's at 9, and if I go backwards, this should be higher. Well, this one should be higher. Some of these should be higher. And it's slowly making its way through. So like this one's filling up now, right? And then above here, all of these should be now 50. And then as it makes its way through the manifold, it'll eventually saturate all the way to the end, and all the machines should get going properly now. And with that, our caterium factory is now finished. And this is our end result. So we have now caterium, and next episode we can finally make some constructed products. We can make some wire, we can make some caterium wire, we can make some steamed copper sheets, and all sorts of other fun stuff. But for now, we will leave it at that. We've done plenty of work this episode. This has been a super long episode for me. I'm not sure what the final edited video will be, but I think we've done a fantastic job on this factory. I really like the look of it. It's still looking a little bit boxy. I might need to start working with like... See, the problem with making it not boxy is that we can't have even rows of stuff, because once you have even rows of stuff, then your main floor is just a box, right? And if I change the shape of this building, then we're just going to have empty nothingness. So we might need to like think of other interesting designs, not for our building, but for our machines, right? Like we could have done this in some like L shape or something cool like that, but instead, no, we did a box. So we'll try to, you know, push our limits of creativity and do some cool stuff next episode. Maybe we'll utilize this backspace over here to make a non-box shaped constructor factory for our wires and copper wires or whatever. But we'll have to wait till next episode to do that, because we've done too much this episode. If you don't want to miss out, don't forget to like and sub, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching.